The Robot Dance by Hack Shuck. I remember reading the interviews with overpaid movie stars and musicians who would just moan about how tired they were and how hard they had to work, how drained they'd be, burnt out and in dire need of a break. The directors were tough taskmasters, performances a pain, what a tough life. I'd grin to myself and I'd think, you should try working a table in a dive bar, or frying up endless breakfasts in some crummy all-night cafe. Then I would put down the well-thumbed newspaper and get back to my 10-hour shift before I was fired. Again. Now I know exactly what they meant. There are no newspapers anymore. Not enough people are left to buy them or any time to read. No bars or cafes. There's entertainment. Endless, inexhaustible. I provide it. I perform. Permanently. Their takeover was sudden, systematic, effortless. Nobody really knows what happened. There were stories in the news about tiny robots that we built to fix us, and something about a message beamed in from deep space. Then, there were no more stories. They took all of our information. They didn't like to share it. Who took control? I saw no androids stomping through cities shooting laser rifles. There were a few rumors of collusion, of powers striking bargains. Everything took place so fast. We lost electricity, transport, and there was no real news. Just gossip. Fear. People were scared. They were scared to stay home, but the ones who left were never seen again. The most complete and coherent whispers were of an advanced alien AI affecting our internet. But as far as I could tell, such talk is just idle speculation. We have no idea who they are, or what they are. No one has ever laid eyes on them. There could be many, or there could only be one. They let just a few of us live. All performers. I must have passed the audition. I used to act a little bit, but it was a pipe dream. Just bit parts. Local plays. To them, the only thing we have of value is art. They can only create coldness, calculation, no cruelty or compassion. They were curious of our songs, our books, and our films. They viewed every movie, heard every song, read every story we had ever written in a heartbeat. They were already bored. They wanted more. We are living masterpieces, I tell myself. Beats working at tables. There aren't many of us left. Every minute of every day we must create or die. Time is immeasurable. One by one our hearts began to stop. I don't know how they do it. If we had been fitted with an implant, they must have done it without our knowledge. I have no memory of any procedure, no telltale scar. Death is instant. Our every breath is at their behest. The ones who last longest should learn a few rules, the hard way. Don't play to their tastes. Innovate. Jokes are met with bafflement, but they can still have an impact. They are very wary of us standing still or sitting still. They can't be fooled by our desperate attempts to suggest that it's just part of the show. Our benefactors bestow gentle direction in a buzzing insect voice, a vibration we feel inside of our head. Dance, they say. So I stumble through some moves. I was never really worth much on the dance floor, but somehow I satisfy them. Perhaps they think I'm being edgy. Perhaps I'm kidding myself. One young guy breaks straight into practically flawless rendition of the robot dance. Straight from some 1980s neon nightclub. I wish I would have thought of that. A few moments later, his corpse thudded on the floor. Never pander. Never patronize. Though blinding lights perpetuate in our jaded faces, far from this cold steel stage, our view is only darkness. They don't need illumination to see us. They're out there. I imagine. Perhaps they use cameras, perhaps their senses are beyond my human comprehension. The most talentless trash makes them sit up and listen. They seem to prefer buffoonery to anything high culture. I don't know how this reflects on their desires, or ours, but it must always be fresh. Any repeat of the same material is unthinkable and unacceptable. Very occasionally, our routines are met with this scratchy, almost inaudible hum of approval from the gloom. A very synthetic symphony. Once I bowed in gratitude, a risk which drew a few gasps from my compadres. It must have succeeded because I still exist. One of the stunned, an elderly British thespian who I'd seen in a few movies, lingered a little too long, and he was gone. We can collaborate. One Direction Subvert inspired myself and 3 others to recreate a caustic comedy and twisted malice of an old Addams Family show, which quickly descended into the recreation of a medieval torture dungeon. The audience sees nothing immoral about this, just as they don't get subtlety or irony. They must have approved. They produced props for us to use from Stygian's gloom. Props are a rare treat. I did things I never knew I was capable of. I guess we'll all have to these days. This drew hatred from my associates. I saw murder in their eyes, heard their hisses over the encouraging din from the theater seats. Sometimes their direction is enigmatic, sometimes straightforward. Luckily, I can improvise. I can think on my feet. What's left of them. Sometimes we get a real gem, such as, "What can't grow can never be beaten." That sort of thing always causes somebody to fumble. So our troupe grows fewer and fewer in number. Sometimes we get fed a mystery meat. Never very much. They like to keep us lean, hungry. All I know is that it's pink and fake. It grows in petri dishes. One tall girl who I had seen modeling in magazines seemed to enjoy the things to an extent. She was into extreme body modification, so they supplied her with knives and she complied. She was pretty insane to begin with, which made me immensely jealous. By the end, she had no eyelids, no lips, no fingers to grip, so she banged her head hard on the floor until you couldn't see who she had been anymore. The hiss of rapture came, louder than I had ever heard before. "I want to watch. I want to see you," she screamed, and flung herself with a demented glee into the audience. The idea must have crossed all of our minds once or twice, just out of sheer curiosity, or a faint hope of respite. Silence. The familiar scent of sizzling flesh. Their next direction comes. Is there any water in the desert? This caused me to pause. My mind went blank. Or perhaps it's gone. That was a different kind of story. I liked it. Pretty good. I like the world building in it. That's excellent. Guys, thank you for listening. Please do all that stuff YouTube enjoys, liking, sharing, and whatnot, and I will see you all in the next one. Call to Curl, I'm asking you right now to remind me to run the all-weekend creepypasta thing over Halloween. Thank you.